Want to improve in tennis? Here are 10 ways to do it quickly. So step number one, you want to get good at serving. You want a consistent serve, a serve that you're not missing, you're not double faulting, you're not gifting the point to your opponent, but also a serve that your opponent can't attack. So the best way of doing that, the best place to serve for your opponent not to attack, is to their weakness, which is usually their backhand. So try and get good at serving to the opponent's backhand on both the deuce serve and ad side. This includes both the first and second serves. Even if your opponent knows where it's going, if it goes to their backhand, it's still going to be a weaker return than on their forehand. Now eventually you'll also have to learn the wide serve to keep them honest, just so they're not standing there and running around with their forehand. So a good way to practice your serve is get out there, get a basket balls and serve. Try and serve at least 100 serves a day. If you do that on a regular basis, your serve will improve dramatically. Step number two, stop missing balls. Get consistent in getting the ball back and stop giving cheap points to your opponent. This is the number one reason of why players lose, especially at club level, especially at recreational level. They're losing because they're missing balls. They're not giving the opponent a chance to miss. Mamma mia! So a good way to do that is make sure that you're hitting with enough height over the net. You're picking big targets to go at, you're not going for the lines, and you're working really hard to just maintain that rally. As you get better, you'll want to learn a little bit of variety, so learn to slice the ball. So if you're on the run, it's a great way of keeping yourself in the point, neutralizing that rally. You may want to topspin to be able to hit more height and get a difficult bounce for your opponent not to be able to attack you. But getting that ball in is that number one priority. So learn to rally against the player on the other side. A good way to practice that is set yourself a target of how many balls you want to get in. If you can get 100 shots in without missing, you know that you've got those 100 shots that you can outlast your opponent. The higher the level of the player, the more you have to be able to get that ball in, the longer the rally threshold has to be. As you get better, you can also start to increase the pace a little bit. Say you set yourself a goal of 20 shots, you can start to go a little bit harder than you were going before. This will make you even more difficult to beat. So as you're improving, your power of shot is improving and your consistency is improving. So this brings us nicely to point number three, and it's get fit. You have to be strong to be able to last in those rallies. If you want to be able to get balls in, when the player hits the ball away from you, you have to be able to get there and get the ball back effectively. After the shot, you need to learn how to recover. Therefore, try and learn the correct footwork patterns you need to get to the ball during contact, and then the recovery steps needed to be as efficient as possible on court. And of course, you have to improve your cardio. The best players out there can rally for a long time without getting tired. If you know that you're fitter than your opponent, you don't have to risk. You can stay in longer rallies or almost wear them down. If you feel like your tennis ability is below your opponent's, you have to get them tired enough to drop their level, not to be able to play at the same level they were playing. And for that, you need fitness. You need to run them side to side enough so they start going for shots that they wouldn't otherwise be going for. Mistakes will happen and you'll start to earn cheap points. You'll start to frustrate them with your legs. You'll start to frustrate them with your game. Now, before we continue, make sure you smash that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, so you get more videos like this in the future. Back to the lesson. Next, learning to hit the ball cross court. Now you can go cross court 90% of the time, maybe even 100% of the time, and most of the time you'll win the match because the cross court battle is vital. On the cross court, you're going over the lower part of the net, you have more court to aim into because of the diagonal, and you have to recover less, so you're always in a good position while also creating angle to get your opponent out of the court and make them feel like they're losing position out there. So going cross court is the number one practice routine that even pros use when they get out there. You have to learn to be able to rally cross court effectively And as you get better, you can go for more depth, you can go for more width, you can apply more topspin, more power to the shot. There's so many ways of improving your cross-court play, especially with your weakness. For example, for me, it'd be my backhand. If someone hits it there, all I have to think about is getting the ball cross-court and try and look for my forehand next, because I can protect that area of the court by hitting the ball cross-court from the backhand side. Next, you have to learn how to attack. This is putting away balls that are a little bit easier. Attacking down a line and coming forward, so approaching the net and taking time away from your opponent. Attacking with precision, where you can maybe hit an angle, you can go for width. Or you can attack with power, where you learn to really go for your shots while keeping them in. It also helps to make sure that when you are going for that powerful shot, that the ball is higher, that it's easier for you to flatten that shot out. There's nothing more frustrating than rallying, getting a short ball and feel like you're too scared to go for it. So when you're in a rally, you're trying to be as effective as possible by not missing, but when the ball is there to be hit, you want to be able to hit it. And for that, you need to practice that hitting. You need to practice putting balls away and being aggressive. And this brings us nicely to net play. You want to be able to put away balls once you reach there, either from the approach shot. If you find yourself at the net, you need to be able to put balls away with a smash. So all the different types of net play, where you have the approach volley, the put away volley, the smash volley. Especially if you're playing doubles, you'll want to learn how to be good at the net. So practicing a net game is vital for improving quickly. This will also end those frustrations if you're playing someone who's making every ball and perhaps you don't feel that you're fitter than the other player. You can come to the net, you can find ways of getting the points to be shorter, and if they're not comfortable at passing you, which a lot of players aren't, if you can approach into their backhand, into their weaker side, then you can really start to take the game to them. You can start to really worry them by coming in. Next, keep improving your technique. Get some professional advice from a coach if you can. If you can't, then simply record yourself and watch yourself play, because how it feels is certainly very different to how it looks from the outside, and you'll be able to pick up a lot of things on what you should be working on in your game. You will also feel what you're missing in your game, or perhaps what you feel like you want to get better. So if I want to have more of a weapon, for example, on my forehand side, I may choose to work on that a lot more. I would suggest looking for 2 things to improve on each stroke and then drilling them to perfection before choosing another 2 things. Our brains work where we can only process really 2 things at a time properly. So don't try to improve everything at once. Pick a stroke, pick 2 things you want to improve, and then go for it. Next, start a training diary. Here you can organize your trainings. You can put things down that you're working on, your teaching points, the elements that you want to improve. You can structure your trainings. And also, at the end of every training, I would score yourself on how you performed, on how you did those things that you're working on. And you can score yourself on the technical ability, on the mental ability, and on the physical ability. How well you performed physically. Were you tired in that session? Did you maybe not get enough sleep? Is that why? So you have all those things that you can put down to be accountable for, and it will make you strive for perfection next time. It will also, looking back at it, give you some motivation, because you'll be able to see that you've put in a lot of work, and you'll feel that you deserve to be there, you deserve to win, and you deserve to be on court. It also helps with setting yourself goals, so short-term goals, how you want to be maybe in a week, in a month, and long-term goals, how you want to be in a year's time. And all those things are very useful to know when you are setting goals, is to have it all structured in a diary. So start a diary today. Next, play points. We learn best by playing the game. So even if you're doing drills, put point scenarios. Even if it's a closed drill, make it competitive. Then you can open it up to play matches where it counts most, where nerves come into play, where dealing with emotions on court, dealing with setbacks. all those things you learn by playing more, by playing matches. Yes, listening to someone tell you how to deal with rain or how to deal with the wind is one thing, but experiencing and your body to have that knowledge of what to do in those situations only comes from that experience of playing matches. So play as many matches as you can. I can't stress that enough. And next, as you're playing matches, now it's a good idea to start watching professional matches. Watch how the pros construct their points. What do they do in certain situations? What do they do after their serve, after their return? Where do they recover to? And look for specific things. Look for their patterns of play. When they serve out wide, where are they going with their next ball? And subconsciously, you'll start to pick up those things. You'll start to learn them. When it comes down to you playing that same situation, you'll have that deeper knowledge of the game. You're not simply going out there and playing without knowing what you're doing. You've got some set plays that you've seen and you can even rehearse in practice. And this will not only improve your practice sessions, but also improve your match play. So watch the pros. And lastly, make sure you enjoy it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up under it. Make sure you leave a comment about what tip resonates with you the most. And of course, subscribe to the channel for further videos to come. Make sure you press that notification bell with the all settings so that you keep getting updates on when we release further content. See you soon.